Hey guys, what's going on? This is Sarge Merrell, and today we hit 30,000 subscribers on this channel, so we're going to celebrate with a 30K Q&A. So today in the background, I have zombies going on, and zombies is a game type that I play a lot more often than some of you may think. It's just not something that I usually feature on my channel, simply because I think I'm terrible at it. And it's mostly because I go into this game type blind, because that's the way I enjoy it. For the same reason that I don't always do Let's Plays for a game when it comes out, like with Mass Effect 3, I didn't do a Let's Play because a lot of times when I'm doing something like that, I focus more on doing good videos and making sure I'm either teaching you guys or entertaining you in some way, rather than enjoying the game for what it is at that moment, you know, and just soaking up the experience. So Zombies is the same way with me. It's something that I enjoy, just going in blind, just enjoying it for the experience, and it's a really enjoyable game type. And I think it suits this commentary well. It's going to be pretty chill because this is our 30,000 milestone mark that we've hit on this channel. And I'd like to celebrate by answering a lot of y'all's questions and maybe teaching y'all something a little bit more about me that you haven't known up until this point. Some of you have been subscribed to me for a long time. So a video like this has been a long time coming. Now, for these questions, there's going to be two parts. The first part is where I'm going to be answering a lot of people's questions that were on Twitter and Facebook. You guys come first because you guys follow me the most. And what I did was just ask on Twitter and Facebook, hey, I'm doing a Q&A video. What would you like to know? So we're going to be going through those. And the second part video is where I'm going to be addressing some of the questions for the people that only follow me on YouTube. So if you have a question for me, put it in the comment section. It'll be in the next video. Also, if you're looking in the comment section and you see somebody who has a question that is very similar to what you would ask, go ahead and upvote it, because the upvoted questions are probably going to be the ones that I address first. Now let's go ahead and get into it. On Twitter, the first person asked, how did you get into gaming? And that's I'm TDM who asked that. And getting into gaming is something that came so naturally and so early for me. I don't even know like the exact time that it happened. From my earliest moments, I just remember being a gamer in some way, shape, or form. It started on the computer because that was before the Nintendo came out. You know, started on the computer and also on the Atari. From my, like I said, from my earliest moments, playing Gauntlet, played a lot of Gauntlet, you know, Pitfall, that tank game that you played on the Atari with the bouncing, you know, missiles that you shoot. They bounce off the walls and you try and hit the other person. I was always into that sort of thing. Always. I just can't remember ever having an aha moment that gaming is something that I wanted to do. It was just something that I did always. So this is something that's been with me my entire life, and I've given up the idea that this is something that I'm going to grow out of. You know, I am going to be the 60-year-old that is still playing video games because it's ingrained in what I like to do. It is my hobby. And I've enjoyed so much growing with gaming as gaming has grown. And some people don't do that. You know, you got the older people who like to stick with the Atari. They like to stick with their old games, like Solitaire and shit. But I'm not one of those people. I really enjoy growing with the industry, and it's something I'm going to continue to do for what I feel the rest of my life. Now, the next question on Twitter comes from a guy named Christopher Jula, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I mispronounce it, homie. He said, what's your guilty pleasure? And that's barbecue. Love me some barbecue food, guys. I barbecue all the time. For anybody that's followed me for a number of years, you know, yearly I participate in this barbecue competition that me and my team take pretty damn seriously. We do beer can chicken. We smoke a goat. We smoke brisket. We do, you know, pork butt. Man, you name it, we do it, and it's in Texas. It's actually the largest barbecue competition in Texas, so it's pretty damn awesome. So that is my guilty pleasure. I love some very fattening, unhealthy barbecue. The next question also comes from Twitter. It's from Johnny McGrath, and he says, which game, in your opinion, best realistically represents weapons and guns as close to real life? Obviously, there's no game out there that's going to represent it, you know, just like real life. There's no game out there that represents what it feels like to get shot at, and I don't think you would want to experience that anyway. There are people who go to therapy for the rest of their life because of stuff like that. But a game that I think gets the closest as far as realism, and it's kind of like a simulator, that would be Arma 2. They do a pretty good job of representing some of the stuff that can go wrong with the weapons, and I really appreciate that, because weapons is a lot more than just knowing how to shoot it. You also got to learn how to deal with a malfunction, which happens a lot more often with some of these weapons than you might think. Dealing with a malfunction is a lot of times what turns military off toward a certain weapon. Some people are like, oh, this weapon is awesome, why don't these militaries use it? It's because a lot of stuff can go wrong with certain weapons, and you have to consider how long it would take to deal with that malfunction. And so I think Arma 2 did a good job of kind of incorporating that into its system. Now our next question comes from Paul William Procopi on Facebook, and he asks, what was your MOS? And MOS, guys, stands for Military Occupational Specialty. A lot of people want to know this because they also served in the military just like I did. I did 8 years, and they want to know what I did. In the military, I was a 46 Quebec, which is a public affairs specialist. And it's kind of difficult to explain everything that your job is as a public affairs specialist, but the biggest one, the most understandable one, is a journalist. That's where a majority of your time goes, is writing articles, doing interviews, and basically telling the soldier's story. Both for the local media, you're writing articles for the local media and submitting it to them, but you're also writing articles for your own publications. I was responsible for a 40-page quarterly publication, in which at a later time I became the senior editor. But you're responsible for more than just that. You're also responsible for escorting local media. So people that want to come write stories about the military, you help them out. You're responsible for the portrayal of the unit that you're in. So I was responsible for the website. Now it's getting even more interesting because these soldiers are responsible for the social media presence of some of these units, which is becoming a big deal. And it was just a really interesting job. It was like something where I really got to experience a lot of different things in the military. I got to do a lot of really cool interviews, meet a lot of really cool people, go a lot of really cool places that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And having that position in the military also is responsible for a lot of the editing techniques and knowledge that I have now that you see on this channel. So I contribute a lot of my knowledge to the military and being a public affairs specialist. So I would recommend the position, but I can tell you that the scope of that position has changed quite a bit over the years. So I'm not sure what they have those guys doing now, but it's definitely a very interesting position if you're interested in it. So if you're joining the military and you want to ask your recruiter about it, it's called 46 Quebec, and they are called Public Affairs Specialists. Now our next question also comes from Facebook. It's right along some similar lines. Someone wants to know, why is my name Sergeant Merrell? And when it came to being on YouTube, when it came to my Xbox Live gamertag, there's a couple different reasons that I went with something like Sergeant Merrell. And I can tell you that having been gaming for a long time, one of my biggest pet peeves is that when you start gaming a lot with people, they start referring to your in-game name, even in real life, more than your actual name. And it would be funny, I'd be at a bar with some friends, and I would hear them refer to one of my other friends by their gaming name. And God forbid they have a really stupid gaming name like Mr. Bananas. And they'd be like, yo, Bananas, give me a beer. And it's just something that I noticed quite a bit. And, having played football, being involved with a lot of sports, being in the military, I was just used to being called Merrell. And it's something that I would respond to a lot quicker than some silly in-game name that I came up with that I kind of forgot while I was playing. And so if I was in a game, especially with strangers, and I heard them call out Merrell, hey Merrell, can you be here? Merrell, can you do this? It's something I'm much more likely to respond to and appreciate at the same time. And I also chose Sergeant because that was another thing that I was used to being called, because at the time I was a sergeant in the military. So if someone said Sergeant, it was also something that kind of perked my ears and something I responded to. And becoming a sergeant in the military is something that I'm incredibly proud of accomplishing. It's a giant step. You take on so many more responsibilities, and you become so much more, I believe, in the military once you hit the rank of sergeant. If so many people would just work toward it and do it, they would appreciate the military so much more, and I think they would grow as people so much more. Unfortunately, not everybody does because they can't get their points up there. There are certain requirements you have to meet. And again, it's something that I was very proud of because I was told it was something that I couldn't accomplish. Both because my points were extremely high at the time, You have to acquire a certain amount of promotion points in the military to get promoted. But my position, my job in the military, being a public affairs specialist, put me at the will of the commander of the unit very often. And it also put me outside of the command of the first sergeant, who was responsible for me to get certain training done, who led different PT events and stuff like that I couldn't attend because I was doing stuff that the commander wanted me to. It's kind of difficult to explain unless you've been in the military, but for those that have been in the military, let's just say I wasn't the first sergeant's favorite person because I was constantly doing what the commander wanted me to do. So if there was a PT event, I'm like, sorry, first sergeant, I got to be here. And basically, it seemed as if I had more authority than him because I didn't have to listen to what he said. I had an 06 that was standing right beside me who loved everything that I was doing for him, saying, no, you got to be here, Sergeant Merrell. No, you got to be here. I don't care what the first sergeant says. Anyway, the situation didn't put a whole lot of NCOs on my side when it came to me getting promoted. And I worked my ass off. I got it done. And it's just an accomplishment that I continue to be proud of and that I learned a lot from, and I think represents me as a person. Next question is, what game are you looking forward to most in 2013? That one's very simple, very easy, very short answer. I am looking forward to most the DayZ standalone. It's going to be outstanding. Can't wait for it. Hope it's hacker free. Hope it gives the same experience as the DayZ mod for Armor 2. So I'm really excited for that game. Definitely can't wait for that to come out. Next question is from Twitter, and they ask, did you work with other nations' military branches? If so, what were they like? And I did work with one other nation quite a bit, and that is the Republic of Korea. I served 2 years in South Korea, and I worked with a lot of specifically KATUSAs. And KATUSAs it stands for Korean Augmented to the United States Army, and it's somebody who is Korean and is currently serving in their military, which they have a requirement in their nation to serve 2 years toward their military. But if they speak really good English, and I think if they meet some other requirements, they can apply to become a KATUSA. And in that case, they serve under United States Military Command, but they are still a Republic of Korea soldier. Now, what were they like? I thought they were pretty awesome, man. When I first got to Korea, I was 19 years old, had my lip down, to my feet because I really didn't want to be there. And the KATUSAs were some of the first Koreans that I met, and they were very friendly, most of them anyway. They taught me where to go. They taught me some of the language. Showed me around the city, and I really appreciate them for that fact. And I have a high amount of respect both for KATUSAs and also for Koreans that are in the regular Republic of Korea Army, because it's something that they have to do. We were there as volunteers. They were not. They had a 2-year requirement. So I have a high amount of respect for them because a lot of them were extremely helpful and happy to be there when they didn't really want to be there. So I do have a high amount of respect for them. I became close friends with quite a few of them while I was there, and it was overall a pleasure to work with them. Now this video is going a little bit longer than I want to. I want to try and keep it around 10 minutes. So what I want you to do now is, if you have a question for me, put it in the comment section. Also, if you see a question that's already in the comment section, go ahead and upvote it, because I'm much more likely to choose a question that is very highly upvoted, because I'm sure there are already going to be hundreds of responses to this video, and it's much easier to choose the questions that are more popular when they are upvoted. So go ahead and do that, guys. That's all I have for this particular video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Sergeant Merrell, out here.